So, CinemaCon 2026 is happening right now. There's a lot to talk about, but specifically for this video right now, we gotta talk about that Godzilla Minus Zero teaser. It finally dropped. We know that this movie has been coming for quite a while. Shortly after Minus One, a sequel was announced. But since then, it's kind of been radio silent on what the plot would be, what the movie was going to be called, would the cast even be returning. We got some of those details along with the drop of this teaser and a little bit before now too, but it's kind of just been a drip of information here and there. This teaser is under a minute long. It's not even 50 seconds, so it doesn't really give much. But what I find very interesting about it is that it opens up in English. So we're going to America in this movie. Now, are Koichi, Noriko, and Baby, I forget her name, are they also going to the US? I mean, Koichi's a pilot, so maybe? I don't know. The year's 1949, so I don't know how they'll justify that, but there's this shot right here in the teaser of Godzilla walking by the Statue of Liberty. That's huge that they're doing this. And, you know, I wish, I think we all wish that this was the first time Godzilla had been to New York since 1968, but it hasn't been. But I'm sure that we can rest assured that this is going to be a much better trip to New York for Godzilla this time around. A couple of other details that we do have about this movie too, though, is that apparently there's going to be another monster involved. Don't know what monster. There's some theories floating around that it's Hedorah because of the way the logo of the title looks. We don't know, but what I do want to put out there, and I said this after I saw Minus One, is if there is another monster involved in this movie, I don't want it to be a versus movie. I don't want this Godzilla to have any kind of anti-hero status whatsoever. This Godzilla worked perfectly well as this unstoppable, evil, angry force. And I think to just go back on that just to make him a hero monster would kind of dilute that. Not that I'm saying that Godzilla's history has been diluted because of the sequels that followed. We've had some, lesser movies in Godzilla's history, but we all typically just love every era of Godzilla, right? Godzilla's just cool. But I feel that for Minus Goji, or whatever we're calling him, he actually just works as this evil, tyrannical monster, and I want him to stay that way. Now, of course, it could end up being that it's just a one-trick type of thing, where he's just angry all the time. How could they evolve beyond that? It could be tricky to figure that out, but I don't know. I think about this Godzilla being a hero and fighting other monsters, or even an anti-hero fighting other monsters to protect humanity, and it just doesn't make any sense. This monster, Godzilla, in Minus One, hated humanity so much, whereas in 1954, that Godzilla was more of a tragic story, but this Godzilla, while there's tragedy to his story, he's also just very angry. And the original 1954 Godzilla wasn't necessarily angry, he was just anguished, which is a very different emotion. It's a very different kind of story than the one with Minus One. While they do have their similarities, they're very, very different. And I think that for this iteration of Godzilla, becoming a hero all of a sudden just isn't going to work. Despite this teaser being so short, another thing that we can clearly see is that the production value has been upped quite a bit. The aesthetic from the first movie has carried over, but it looks much better, much cleaner. They obviously give them a bigger budget here. Godzilla, with as low of a budget they gave to them for Minus One, Godzilla looked great, and apparently was a practical effect. He looked amazing. With this upped budget, he looks a lot better, but we can't judge completely considering we don't have very much. My only concern is that this is going to be a let's just churn out whatever sequel, right? It's been 3 years since minus one, kind of a quick turnaround for a sequel. Now, obviously, they would want to fast track it with how successful minus one was, but minus one was so good that I feel as if with this movie, they could have the mentality of, oh, they turned out in droves for that movie. They're going to turn out in droves for this one. Just put out whatever. They're going to come see it anyway. I really, really worry that it's going to be one of those sequels. But with this short teaser, it doesn't look like it. Mr. Ryunosuke looks like he's giving the same performance. He's doing that primal scream in the short scene where he's flying the plane. So I don't know. It looks like they're gonna stay and keep up with the momentum that they have for minus one. But those are just some of my quick thoughts on the minus zero teaser. What did you think of the teaser if you saw it already? Did you see minus one? What did you think of that? Let me know down in the comments. Let's talk everything Godzilla down there, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.